symbolism, particularly in the context of the end times, of the end times, of the end times, of the end times.
The Blessed Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam declared, every prophet warned his people about the Antichrist, about Dajjal, the false Messiah. And the Prophet Noah warned his people. But I say to you something that none ever said before me. The Antichrist sees with one eye, his left eye. He's blind in the right eye. It looks like a bulging grape. But your Lord is not one eye.
The money that we are now using has come from Dajjal. If you've not studied international monetary economics, come to me and I'll teach it to you. The money that we are now using has come from Dajjal. The paper currencies have come from Dajjal. The electronic money which is taking over from the paper currencies has come from Dajjal. And they are functioning as an instrument, not only for the unjust transfer of wealth from the unsuspecting masses to a global predatory elite, but more than that. They're bringing a system of slavery upon the world, enslaving mankind. And Nabi Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam prophesied that in the end time there will be slavery. Modern Western civilization has now been hijacked to deliver to the world more oppression than mankind has ever witnessed. And yet there are those who have eyes and yet cannot see. And their Qibla is in Washington. And they long to get a green card and a US passport. So I say, please go and don't come back. Please go and don't come back. You don't belong to us. You belong to the Jamaat of the oppressors.
Had it been Malcolm would have asked, who took my money? And how did they take it? And then it would have become clear that my loss was somebody else's gain. Let me repeat that. When my money could no longer buy a camel, it could only buy a donkey. The value of my labor has been diminished by half. My loss was somebody else's gain. 5 years later, when I take it out, I'll buy a donkey. Can you buy a goat now? And so my 1 month has now been diminished to 1 week. If this keeps on going on, I'm going to be enslaved. And your slavery will come upon the world. If this keeps on going on like this, surely it was time for the Ummah of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam to stop fighting among themselves over popcorn. Because that's what they're doing. Fighting over popcorn. While this massive betrayal of Islam is taking place, how will you listen to the ignorant? That's the price we pay. when we only have scholarship, but no rules. 5 years later, when you take out that money, can't buy a goat anymore. You may buy potato chips. That's where Indonesia is now. That is where Indonesia is now. Chicken and chips. That's where Turkey is now. Chicken and chips. Yes. And still we're fighting over popcorn. If you're 70 years of age and the nice son and daughter, business lectures for you, they'll be fighting over popcorn. While the slavery has come on us. If you meet a man coming to the market to sell his goods, and you buy his goods from him before he could enter into the market, and when he entered into the market, he finds out that he could have gotten a better price in the market, that's riba. Why? You exploited his ignorance of the market price to get a profit or a gain greater than that to which you were entitled. The Americans describe this with a very pretty phrase. They say, you ripped them off. That's riba. And who is the thief? And so this is riba. This is riba. Why? Because of the verse of the Quran, وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Do not diminish, make little the value of people's property, people's labor, people's sweat is haram. It is riba because of the hadith. If you rip off somebody, then that's riba. This is a rip-off. My 1 month of sweat has now been reduced to 2 weeks. Okay? What does Allah say about this in the Quran? It's there in the Quran. It's there. But we don't notice it. The Prophet Shu'aib alayhi salam and the market or the economy of the people of Shu'aib alayhi salam is a corrupted market. There's a lot of ripping off going on in this market. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responds to it in the Quran, and He declares 3 times in the Quran. Listen to the words. وَلَا تَبْخَسُوا النَّاسَ أَشْيَاءَهُمْ. Do not do this. My 1 month is now reduced to 2 weeks. Not diminish and make less the value of people's property, people's labor, etc. That is haram. And so this money, which is losing value, is by the definition of the Quran haram. What they did was to control the price of gold. Can you control the price of a commodity? Yes, if you can establish what is called a monopoly, then you can control the price of a commodity. The Prophet ﷺ cursed the one who establishes a monopoly.
The one eye is the sun god, Ray, which is where we get the word ray, sun rays. It is the sun god, same Mithraic character, and he shows up again and again. This is the Masonic god. Itself is a word. The word is interesting because it's a word that comes from a pagan. Hollywood is the holy wood, and it was the wood that the magical wands were made out of in the pagan sorcery, magic. And these wands were believed that the sorcerers that possessed them could put people into trances and control them. This is part of, this is symbolic, but it's also important to understand that part of what Hollywood literally does is it puts people into trances. It's a dream state. They call it the dream machine in the United States.
So, where are we now? September 11th was the jumpstart for what is now an accelerated agenda by the ruthless elite. It was a staged war pretext no different than the sinking of the Lusitania, the provoking of Pearl Harbor, and the Gulf of Tonkin lie. In fact, if 9/11 wasn't a planned war pretext, it would be an exception to the rule. It has been used to launch two unprovoked illegal wars, one against Iraq and one against Afghanistan. However, 9/11 was a pretext for another war as well, the war against you. That the Patriot Act, Homeland Security, the Military Tribunals Act, and other legislations are all completely and entirely designed to destroy your civil liberties and limit your ability to fight back against what is coming. Currently in the United States, unannounced to most brainwashed Americans, your home can be searched without a warrant, without you being home. You can in turn be arrested with no charges revealed to you, detained indefinitely with no access to a lawyer, and legally tortured, all under the suspicion that you might be a terrorist. If you need a painted picture of what is happening in this country, let's recognize how history repeats itself. In February 1933, Hitler staged a false flag attack, burning down his own German parliament building, the Reichstag, and blamed it on communist terrorists. In the next few weeks, he passed the Enabling Act, which completely eradicated the German Constitution, destroying people's liberties. He then led a series of preemptive wars, all justified to the German people as necessary to maintaining homeland security.
Our enemy is a radical network of terrorists and every government that supports them.
It's time to wake up. The people in power go out of their way to make sure that you are perpetually misled and manipulated. That the majority's perception of reality, especially in the political arena, is not their own. It is shrewdly imposed upon them without them even knowing it.
They became a mystery to the others, and the priesthood was born. No king ever existed without the permission of the priesthood. The kings never had the power and don't to this day. Kings exist at the whim of the real power, which is the priesthood standing behind the throne.
It is a method of encoding information through a system of mathematics and numbers. It is some of the most ancient knowledge that man has ever possessed and has been kept secret and given only to those who have proven themselves worthy through the process of initiation.
There's a method to their madness. There's really not much method to yours, because you're operating from a place of ignorance, and until you change that, you're going to be bumbling around, bumping into each other, saying and doing the wrong things, not understanding the nature of your enemy. And if you don't understand the nature of your enemy and the weapons they use, you cannot fight that enemy. You can't fight the battle. You shouldn't even be on the battlefield. What is our common bond truly? Freedom. Freedom. Without freedom, you can't be a Christian no matter what denomination you belong to. You can't be a Buddhist. You can't own a donut shop. You can't drive from here to Oregon. You can't be an American, because that's what it's all about, and it's the only thing that it's all about. Nothing else. Nothing else. You don't really understand sometimes what a terrible burden it is to know some of the things that I know, and try to wake people up and impart this knowledge to them, and find out that they just have walls built in front of them. They want to be slaves. That's why my broadcast scares the hell out of socialists. You see, what happens when you broadcast the truth is you piss everybody off.